For 47 years, Elijah Brooks worked at the Riverside History Museum. Not as a director, not as a curator, not as a professor. He was the maintenance supervisor, the man who unlocked doors before sunrise, fixed leaking pipes, repaired display cases, changed light bulbs before exhibits opened. At 74, Elijah moved slower than he once did. His knees hurt, his shoulders ached, his hands trembled slightly from age. But every morning, he still walked through the museum with pride. Because he loved history, everyone called him Mr. Elijah, the man who helped schoolchildren find exhibits, who stayed late helping volunteers, who quietly repaired things nobody else knew were broken. But few people knew the truth. Decades earlier, when the museum nearly went bankrupt, Elijah worked without pay for 6 months, just to keep the doors open. Nobody asked him to. He simply refused to watch history disappear. And over 47 years, he became part of the museum itself. That Friday evening, the museum hosted its biggest fundraiser ever. Politicians, business leaders, donors, television cameras. Everyone important was there, and Elijah had received a personal invitation. Retirement ceremony, 47 years of service. One final night, he wore his best suit, polished old shoes, and carefully walked toward the entrance. But a young event manager saw him and immediately made an assumption. The manager stepped in front of him. "Sir." Elijah smiled politely. "Evening, baby." The manager glanced at his badge, then frowned. "This event is private." Cold silence. Nearby guests turned. Phones slowly came out. Elijah nodded gently. "I know," then reached into his jacket. "My invitation," the manager interrupted. "Staff entrances are around back." The words landed hard, like 47 years suddenly meant nothing. One volunteer looked uncomfortable. "Sir, that's Mr. Elijah." The manager ignored her. Then came the line nobody forgot. "This event is for donors and leadership." Gasp spread. Elijah blinked slowly. Pain flickered across tired eyes. "Baby," he whispered. "I was invited." The manager crossed his arms. "We get people trying to sneak into these events." The lobby went silent, painfully silent. Elijah slowly folded the invitation, hands trembling. No need embarrassing nobody. Then he turned and started walking away. That's when the ballroom doors opened. A woman rushed into the lobby. Museum board chair, Margaret Collins. She stopped instantly. "Mr. Elijah?" The entire room froze. Margaret looked from Elijah to the event manager, then back again. "What happened?" Nobody answered. The manager suddenly looked nervous. Elijah smiled softly. "Misunderstanding." Margaret wasn't smiling at all. She grabbed Elijah's hand and led him inside. The ballroom was packed. Hundreds of guests, donors, executives, local media. Then something happened nobody expected. As Elijah entered, the entire board stood. Every member, instantly. Then the donors stood. Then the crowd. A standing ovation filled the room. People clapped, cheered. Some cried. The manager looked stunned. Margaret stepped to the microphone, voice shaking. "Most of you think this museum was built by architects." She paused. "It wasn't." Then she pointed toward Elijah. "It was built by him." The room exploded. By morning, the video had gone viral. Millions watched. Former employees shared stories. Former directors shared stories. Retired curators shared stories. And then came the biggest shock. A reporter uncovered museum records. 30 years earlier, during the financial crisis, the museum secretly sold ownership shares to stay alive. Tiny shares, almost worthless at the time. Only one employee bought them. Elijah Brooks. Every paycheck. For years. Quietly. Nobody noticed. Until now. Because after decades, those shares had become valuable. Very valuable. At the retirement ceremony, the board revealed the truth. Elijah wasn't just an employee. He was one of the museum's largest private owners. The room went silent, then erupted. Reporters rushed forward. Cameras flashed. And when someone asked Elijah how he felt, he adjusted his glasses, smiled softly, looked around the museum he spent nearly half a century protecting, and whispered, "Some things are worth taking care of."